Welcome to the Epic Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm joined today by Tim Limmer from Brisbane, Australia. Tim is the chairperson of the Frederick Marsden Youth Centre board. He's been involved with the Frederick Marsden Youth Centre since 2007, where he oversees a number of programs. Recently, he's overseeing a disability support service called Inclusive Disability Assist that's growing exponentially. Tim, welcome to Epic Entrepreneurs. Could you share the top 3 things that you've done that you think have made you successful in business? Maybe something that others who want to follow in your footsteps might like to hear.
For us in this particular venture, getting extremely clear on our why and our who. It wasn't so much a matter of what we were going to do. It was who were we trying to reach and why were we trying to do it. And for a bit of context to that, I sit on the board of the not-for-profit, and most of our existence has been about really not making money and scraping by. And so why were we going to do something again, and who were we going to reach really mattered to us. So those are 2 things. I'm sure I'll get into a bit more about that later. We got really clear on the principles of business that we wanted to inject in this disability support service that we started, and being super clear, sort of paved the way for, I say, less roadblocks, but it doesn't mean there weren't any. And I think number 3, we kind of dovetails in, maybe it's cheating, but with the principles of business, we were robustly focused on the types of leaders that we wanted for that organizational branch. And, if the leaders didn't quite match that, we were willing to discuss that and part ways if necessary.
So being really clear on your why, your who, particularly those business leaders who you wanted to work with. Can you talk at all about the process that you went through to get focused in on your why? That's something that I know is something a lot of business owners wrestle with, is that kind of, what are we doing here? What is the purpose?
Being a board of directors, we had to find harmony, unity, synergy from, I think at that time it was 5 individuals from very different walks of life. We had a centre point though. We had a very clear beginning point that we're a Christian not-for-profit. We've been in existence since 1929, so there's been a relay torch passed from, I guess, generation to generation. So we had a pretty clear starting point on a whole bunch of things that were acceptable and not acceptable in our opinion, our moral compass. However, really landing on that, it was allowing the board to have sufficient robust and wide-ranging discussions, debates, and maybe even a couple of strong words here and there to really flesh out the true nature of where we believed we stood currently, and then for this particular venture, again, really why we were pushing the button on this. I mean, we could choose anything. We could supply ice to Eskimos if we so choose in Australia, a bit odd, but we could choose, any direction. So why this one? And with enough discussion, with a time limit, we were able to get just super clear on that particular process. And I think after we launched it, it was a couple of years of floundering in a new area of business. And that's when we brought on the amazing Bill Stack from Action Coach, and he really helped us streamline some of those processes to better instill them in the business after we had already sort of become clear on what we wanted to do, who we wanted to reach. So I think, it was a bit of a slow process being a board and a democratic process. However, it gave us such a solid foundation stone that every discussion after that became so much easier.
What would you say has been the biggest challenge? And maybe tell us a little bit about how you overcame that.
Well, there have been a few. I would say probably in my time, and it's going to become very cliche one day, but the COVID um, situation really brought a challenge that we were not anywhere near prepared for. At that particular time, we were running a number of other programs, a camp and conference centre, which could house up to 100 people and feed them, and they could do all the activities on site. We have a high ropes confidence course, so quite a major infrastructure on a portion of the land. And both of those income streams basically died overnight as various lockdowns and all of that came into effect and bookings dried up. And we sort of modelled out it was potentially going to be 3 to 5 years for an adequate recovery to be able to pay our bills again through those income streams. And like I maybe alluded to at the start, we were a genuine not-for-profit that for a long time got by, just on the smallest of savings because we didn't have any debt, we didn't have any loans, we just had what we had and knew that our programs worked, so why keep, an exponential amount of money in the bank? So that COVID scenario really forced some changes on us. We had to make a bunch of staff redundant. It wasn't a very enjoyable period, to say the least. However, the way the board came together through that, again, focusing on why we're here, is just dissolving ourselves into insolvency by being well-meaning philanthropists and trying to help everyone at the cost of our own organisation. Is that the way to go? We didn't feel it was ultimately. So I guess getting over that hurdle and hoop was, I would say, the biggest challenge I personally have felt within myself. And we did. I'm happy to report we did overcome that, and we came out the other end stronger internally and externally as well, I personally believe.
And that's a wrap for today's epic conversation here on Epic Entrepreneurs. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that subscribe button, leave a review, share it, or hit that bell. But until next time, let's make sure you keep dreaming, take massive action, and stay epic.